Today I would like to introduce the topic of global health competition in Northeast Asia. Competition. And here is our outline. First, I want to introduce what is Hotpot. Hotpot is an area of activity with the function of being a hub for goods transshipment and a gateway for economic and manufacturing sector through the connection of inland transport system and ship feeder systems. In Hotpot, the works are designed so that motor ships can be accommodated and carry out the work of loading and unloading. The land transport the ocean to other continents. At the Hotpot. Port service can be divided among general logistics service and value-add logistics service. The latter operating activities. Global logistics hubports can be expressed by global logistics hubports and equals global logistics plus hubports. And second, in part two, I will introduce the feature of global hubports. The first feature is location. In order to build and constitute the hubport, it is very important to select locate the right location. This area are usually along the main shipping routes and surrounded by many large industry zones. And the second is free trade area. It is contribute to attracting cargo to flow from surrounding countries to focus on Hotpot. That is a reason why transit time is shortened, increasing the related the cargo is to the port. And the third is port charges. For Hotpot, the port rate as well as the cost of handling service in the port area must always be attractive, transparent, and specific. And the fourth is additional utilized service. And in Hotpot, the following policies service indispensable. These are included for ports. The first is telecommunication service, ship repair service, providing water flows and crew members, customer support at the port throughout the operation. And the last is competitive. Hotpot must be fully equipped with modern equipment to coordinate operating and subdivision within a port reasonably. And the third part, I want to introduce the Busan port. A logistic port in Northeast Asia. The port of Busan is the sixth busiest container port in the world and maintaining capacity of more than 20 million TEUs every year. It's located on the main trade route and connecting 60 ports in Japan and 45 ports in China. And I want to introduce the three policy for Busan Port. The first is strengthen the global competitiveness of Busan New Port. The Busan New Port has been competitive in 2020, and it will strengthen the port's global competitiveness. And it have include four structures. The first is construction of fortified container routes. Second, construction of Busan New Port's logistics complex, including an oil tanker terminal and a large-size repair shipyard. The third, construction of a one-stop joint logistics center. Fourth, construction of a new airport on Gigado Island as the second national gateway which can be operated all day round. The second policy is establish international logistics complex around Busan New Port. Construct a new class high-tech industry and logistics complex until 2020 on 33 square kilometers land in a Gansia region. And it includes two strategies. First, international integrated policy complex high-tech industry complex R&D complex etc. Second, stepwise promotion of the locate industry complex, eco-delta, city and water-friendly zone, special R&D zone, aviation cluster, and general industrial complex. And the last policy is redevelop the Busan New Port, a gateway of Eurasia, transform about 1.53 million square kilometers land from the coastal care to peripheral of Busan Port into a beautiful and world-class work. Port is created from multiple urban functions until 2020. And it includes three structures. The first is an important value for its maritime tourism and business that is required to harbor in leisure and commercial facilities. Second, rearrangement of railway facilities around Busan Station. Third, designate it as a model district of the special maritime economic zone and promote the convergence of relation industries. And next is
Good morning, everyone. My name is Amy, and now I'm going to introduce the maritime policy of Taiwan. And according to the transportation policy of Taiwan in 2020, the vision of the maritime development is proposed as the promoting the upgrading of the port industry and maintaining an international maritime hub. And in terms of the shipping development, in 2018 data, Taiwan is the world's 11th largest ship owner country, with a fleet of 50.42 million deadweight tons. And this value can slightly represent the country's influence on the global shipping market. And it can be referred to as a quantitative goals of consolidate the development of the shipping industry to increase the deadweight of the fleet. And in the port development part, intends to continue to strive for the supply of goods to maintain the international competitiveness of the port in order to effectively utilize the port resource and expand the port operation. The annual container loading and unloading value of Blue Road of the Taiwan Port Group and the berthing and departure cruise shipping be used the number of island vessels. And used as a quantitative charge for increased port operations. In summary, the vision of the maritime policy are as follows. First, the vision is promote the upgrading of port industry and maintain an international ship hub. And the object first is consolidate the development of shipping industry, increase the deadweight tons for the dominant fleets for 50 million deadweight in 2025. And second is increase port operation. The annual container loading and unloading value of Taiwan's Blue Highway increased 20% in 2025, and the number of international cruise ships hopping and berthing off islands reached 26 ships in 2023, reached 40 ships in 2025. And in order to achieve the policy goals, through research and discussing with the maritime industry, government, and academia, for policy and 70 strategy are as follows. In policy 1 is to assess in the development of shipping to become a strong backing of the industry, and it has 6 strategies. And in policy 2, active slot source play the port operations performance, and it have 4 strategies from strategy 7 to strategy 10. And in policy 3 is make good use of the advantage of capacity, capital, promote the wisdom and sustainable policy of the port, and it has 3 strategies from strategy 11 to 13. And in the policy 4 is adjust maritime norms in timely manner to create a safety and high quality business environment. It has 4 strategies from 14 to 17. And part 4 is comparison of global harbor policy. And we compare the Busan maritime policy and Taiwan's policy. And we choose the Taiwan's policy from strategy 1, 7, 5, and 14 to comparison with the Busan's policy. And in Taiwan's, in strategy 1, it promotes incentive for China's ship industry and anti-port restriction. And in 7, to promote the second phase of Kaohsiung Port intercontinental containers country project to expansion plan for the outer port area of Taichung Port, and in line with the needs of ship berthing and cargo handling and transportation, and start the deck reconfiguration plan. And in 5th, promotes incentive for international cruise ships to Taiwan, and set up the cruise network to provide tourists with perfect travel information, and development of eastern and outlying island routes. And 14 is improve the free trade for the service network and improve the quality of service. And participation in the World FZO to enhance the visibility of international exchange and strengthen the export and the transfer of goods in the free port area and construct a complete borders logistics service mechanism and simplify and reasonable regulate the calculation of foreign tax in our territory. And in Fusan new port will construct by 2020 and it will strengthen the port's global competitiveness and establish the international logistic complex around the Fusan new port. And we have been introduced in forward. And our conclusion is, according to the previous conversation, we think that Taiwan and South Korea have to deal with the situation of their port, and or think about other development in whether it is freight or the tourism, and have two corresponding policy. So we feel that although the policy is not necessarily completely, but we think both countries have the positive development, and this is our reference. Thanks for your attention.
Okay, thank you for your presentation. And I think for most of us are not familiar with your topic, so we want to learn something from your presentation. But just like the first group, your slides has too much text. Through all your presentation, we can see we can see any graphs or tables in your slide, and I would suggest that a lot of information you can try to make in the graph or make some tables. It will be more easier for us to understand, and also I would suggest you to use the most common used phone style, like Thai New Romance, and because we don't see much of this kind of phone style, okay? And at the very beginning, we want to know what is your content, the main points of your presentation. So before you start your presentation, I think I would suggest you to give us a table of content, okay? And also go back to the first suggestion that too much text in your presentation. In the very beginning, you give us the definition of portal, right? And you just read the definition, but we can't. I still not quite understand. So if you can add some graphs, and to support your text, and it will make us easy to understand. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, let's go to your definition on the hot port. Okay, hot port is good. Okay, and then in this case, I would suggest you give some famous port that has been known as a hot port. Give an example so we can relate it to it. Such as Singapore might be a hot port, is it? Hong Kong is a hot port, is it? So we can relate it to where we're the most famous port that we understand. So we know, okay, why is Singapore a good hub port? Because it related to the mainland and into different country, and China go to somewhere. So and then you go to next to Busan. Busan is a good hub port. Okay, you say locations. Busan is a good hub port, but on your text, if you can, I would suggest you give a map showing on Busan and then relate it to which port, and just like we see in the airlines on the text of where we fly to. So when the ship goes to this port, it can redistribute, deliver to certain ports. That might be a way to do it. And of course, I fully agree with Dr. Huang that is the font and the font size. Please go to the slide next to in Taiwan slides. Go ahead and move down. Move down your slides. Yes. Okay. Let's go to the Taiwan because this is not the words. Okay. Go down. Okay. On this information, get all the information now. This actually includes, you can use that for at least 3 slides. So we can fully understand, and also in this case, there is, by 2023 and 2025, you will increase what percentage? Give a chart. Showing a chart that we will know, see, 20% in 2025, so where's current? And then what would give a chart online that we can see. Use figure, a picture worth 1,000 words. So you don't have to read that too much. Okay. On your presentation style, my suggestion, eventually I can see you're nervous and maybe you're not very familiar with the material. So when you do, especially Queen A, when you do, you're nervous, you're not familiar with your presentation, hide behind the lantern. Do not show yourself. Do not stand in front of your slide. Hide behind the lantern, so that will give you a barrier from you and the audience. This is a skill, a technique in presentation. When I'm not very familiar with it, so I hide myself in an unnoticed place. So I can be more confident and my nerves will not showing as much as I stand in front of the people and trying to watch out. That show your weakness. Okay, this is use some technique, use some behavioral technique that will help you be more confident on your presentation. But overall, I appreciate the way you do the presentation, the way you design. I know I can tell you spend a lot of time to do the design of the slide itself. But next time, use 80% of your time on the content and 10% of the time on design. Nobody will notice your design, but when you have a content that people cannot see, they will notice it. The design, from my perspective, is as simple as possible. Less is more. Just keep it plain. You do not have to have a backdrop. No backdrops is actually better because your backdrop is a noise that actually distracts our attention. Unless you absolutely need to have a chart, a figure or a map, use that. But especially when you have so many text in there, just plain white slide will be perfect. Okay? And you did a good job in designing, and I appreciate that. But I think that would be all. Thank you.